Hey folks, Matt with Bass Talk Live here. A little bit different MP3 iTunes podcast show today. Actually was able to get out on the water with one of the most polarizing, controversial, and accomplished anglers in the industry, Randy Blaukat. And if you listen to BTL for a while, you know that sometimes he will do videos that I'm not thrilled with, or I'll mention it anyway. I wanted to get on the water with him and just talk about forward-facing sonar, the industry, some of his thoughts. I went to Table Rock Lake in early April with him. You can actually watch the audio for this upcoming MP3 that is on the BTL YouTube channel. It dropped April 13th. But one of the cool things that I wanted to test out, and this is kind of the maiden voyage of it, is on the water audio podcasting. So you'll hear a little bit of wind in the background. You'll hear the engines. You'll hear when we catch a fish. But all in all, kind of a new concept. I'm really happy with how it turned out. But enjoy a little bit over an hour of the 6 hours that I spent on the water with Randy Blaukat, talking about a lot of things in the bass fishing industry. Here we go. This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
We're going fishing with the Randy Blaukat, 8-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier, 2-time Bassmaster winner. You've been there, you've done that.
Man, forever. Over 50 years.
He's done none of it with live scope, though. You make a cast with a live scope? Can I get you? You'll ping a minnow?
I'll try it. I remember back in 1971, down here with my dad, fishing Table Rock, watching these guys catching 7 and 8 pounders, trolling hellbenders in the middle of Table Rock. So they've been living out there forever. They caught them on hellbenders 60 years ago and minnows today. So
BTL special edition in the boat with Randy Blaukat. You're either going to hate it, or you're going to love it, or you're going to love to hate it.
We'll see.
I've done over 2,500 BTLs since the beginning of it. I have yet to do a BTL like this, kind of on the water, kind of a long form when we catch some fish too. A lot of people said it wouldn't happen. A lot of people said it couldn't happen. But he's here, the man, Randy Blaukat. You ready to go catch some fish?
Let's go, man. This is like the best time of year to fish, Table Rock. This is the time of year where at least 50-60% of the fish are up on the bank and they're biting. So it's always better. There's always options though, because you got a multi-species lake.
Now these fish have been out here, you know, for decades, and really the only way you could target them pre-electronics. I mean, this lake is famous for jigging spoons over the timber. I know a lot of the old school guys, a lot of talk about that slab spoon, whether, I mean, spoon, I would assume starting with the flasher, kind of where you could tell where those trees were, dropping it on top and hopping it.
Down here in the past, you know, guys like Dick Collier, you know, these guys that really figured out how to catch the fish deeper before anyone else. And in the past, you know, with just flashers, the only thing that you would target was just the timber itself that you could see on the flashers. So you get out on those channel swings and the bluffs and all that type of stuff, and find the submerged timber, you know, fish a drop shot or a spoon over the top of it. You know, I won that Central Pro-Am Titleist tournament here, deep cranking deep. So it's like I fished offshore here a lot. And, you know, that's where most of them live, you know, especially the spotted bass on this lake, you know. And they have been forever. So like, you know, I was talking about seeing all the guys catch those big ones trolling back 50 years ago. I've known that those fish are out in the middle of the lake here forever. And it was sort of like comforting to know that they're out there, even though I didn't, you know, really know how to pinpoint them or how to fish for them. But it's like, you know, you see them coming up busting in 100 foot of water 40 years ago. You knew they were out there. It was just sort of a mystery about what they were doing.
We're going to do it all. We're going to see where it goes, Randy. I appreciate you doing this.
Thanks for the invite.
Looking forward to it. And now we just got to figure out where to start. So how did you primarily learn the lake? Just did you have guys like your dad or or did you just?
Well, you know, my dad, we'd go down here like once every 3 months, and we didn't even have a depth finder, man. I had a 16-foot D bottom with a 28 horse on it.
Okay.
A 12-volt turbo motor on the back, so I didn't really learn much for that. I just started learning coming down here with myself and my friends, you know, that were, you know, we just come down every weekend we could, and then I had a chance to get in a bass club in Joplin, and a lot of guys, there were some old dudes that fished, you know, the lake a lot. I learned a lot from that.
At 41 years old, the way I would say it is I have retooled my golf swing to where I had a swing that was very competitive, but then I realized that I had to completely, if I was going to continue to do this and enjoy it, that I was going to have to completely retrain my brain. Because you talk about it a lot too. Like, I mean, there's a lot of, I think a lot of the success from the younger guys comes from they haven't, you know, like your brain when it's molding and stuff, they don't have the preconceived notions of what you're supposed to do and the myths of fishing and all that, which we're saying. So I basically was like, I didn't think it would take this long. Like, I'm still getting my ass kicked, but I have thoroughly enjoyed relearning this, thinking I'm good at it, getting in the boat with the guys who are good at it, and then realizing that I'm not good at it.
Yeah. It's sort of like flipping. It's like going flipping with Denny Brower, Tommy
100%.
Thinking that you know how to flip, but there's so many nuances of any technique out there that, you know, unless you just do it and commit to it, you're never going to understand.
We gotta get your rod in your hand for when we see him.
I've got.
You're all fluorocarbon. Are you willing to put a minnow on there?
Huh?
Are you willing to put a minnow on there?
I'll put one on there. I mean,
let's put a minnow on. I have spent an absurd amount of money on minnows.
Yeah.
And on the jig heads and on the tactics and all the new stuff. So the way I kind of look at it is it's like created a whole new genre. Like look at Johnny and Matt with Core. Like, I mean, I know that wasn't designed for forward facing per se, but I mean, like that's a business that's like booming because of it.
Because of that, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that you don't hear people talk about is the impact it's had on the other lure categories. You know, I talked to a lot of companies out there, and you know, everybody sells are way down on the traditional lure categories.
The last time you quote scoped, you went out with, I know you went out with Johnny back in the day when he first got it.
Yeah, it'd been out for probably, I don't know, maybe a year or so. I think Jason Christie maybe had just won that, or a couple years after he won that tournament in St. Clair on it.
Yeah, because I covered that tournament and he would not talk about it.
Right.
Because he was casting to him with the tube, snapping a tube on it.
Well, that was like when he won that tournament with it, I thought at the point in time it was just another like a side imaging deal, and it's like it'd be extremely situational. I didn't think the technology would advance to the point where it was completely dominated the sport, you know, shortly afterwards. I just thought it was just another advancement from side imaging. But
since you went with Johnny 4 or 5 years ago, like have you been up front and like panned around, scoped, cast to him or anything?
No,
or was it just
that's the only time that I have ever used forward facing or seen forward facing is in that scenario.
I was curious on whether you would be willing to put a minnow on, would be willing to do it, or because your fan base is rabid, Randy.
Yeah, it's not the bait category, the lure. It's just there's so many different layers to it. This whole conversation and, you know, argument that I made against it. It's not just the lure category. The lure category is secondary to the overall technique in general and the technology behind it.
So, you know, if this had become the go-to bait without any of the technology, you'd be all behind.
Oh, absolutely.
The jig
I wouldn't have
minnow
any problem with that, with lures. But here's one of the things. A lot of people think I'm this old crusty grunge grandpa that can't keep up with technology. And I was sponsored by Zircom Electronics, Humminbird, and Lowrance.
I believe you did you have a Zircom patch on when you won your first tournament on bugs?
Probably.
I think it was right here. You had a 24-pound bag the first day, right?
Yeah, and so I had access to a lot of this electronic technology through those sponsorships before anyone else, because Aaron Martins and I, we were two of the first dudes that had side imaging. And this is what caused my complete shift on it. I had the side imaging in 2006, Lake Wheeler, and I had nobody else. It's like I was the only one that I even knew that had side imaging at that point. And I remember getting out on the Decatur Flats with side imaging in 2006, and I could see all these stumps, laydowns, you know, out around there, and I caught fish doing it. And then about probably 3 months later, Aaron and I went to Grand Lake together. And Aaron was all in on the side imaging at this point. And we went out there and he was showing me how he dialed in on it. And I told him, it's like, dude, I said, I can't do it. I said, this is a bridge too far for me. It's like, you know.
So even then, just the side imaging.
That's when it changed for me. It's like when Aaron and I went fishing at Grand, and after I did good in that Wheeler tournament on side imaging, I said, this is not the road I want to go.
So what was too far about it? You're a professional angler. You're trying to feed your family. You make your living. You're sponsored by a technology company. You're at the very top level, where in everything at the top level, whether it's NASCAR, golf, everything, you're testing new things. You're trying to push the, you know, you're at the very top. So what was it back then in 2006 that made you say, well, every single other person was, oh, this is fantastic. Everyone that made you, a little something went off in your head that you didn't like it?
Because to me, it's like it got to the point where the whole concept of fishing to find fish is beginning to go away. And that, to me, that's the foundation of competitive fishing and fishing in general, is that fishing to find fish, the unknown, and you don't really know what's out there, which is okay. And once I saw what side imaging could do, it took away a lot of that, whatever it was, it just something clicked to me. But the point is, like, this just does not feel right to me. It's like this is taking away something that is special of fishing to me, as far as if that log or that something was out on that flat of the Decatur Flats, like if I happened to throw my crankbait over it and hit it, awesome, you know, I fished to find that particular area. But when I can scan an area, you know, it made me lazy, because I could go over that flat and I wouldn't cast until I saw that stump 50 feet over there to the right or left. And I don't know. And it's like, I remember Aaron and I, we were graphing, we were getting ready for tournament. Aaron was graphing with the side imaging out there, and he was putting waypoints on like a stump here, a brush pile here, you know, and he just everywhere. And it's like, yeah, he goes, I'm going to mark like 100 of these and go back to him in the tournament. And it's like, dude, I can't do this. It's like, this is just, I don't like this. And at that point, I just sort of dug in.
But it's just because you couldn't see it. Like, you'd be fine with the stuff of, like, what's the difference between above water or underwater?
That's the thing about it. There's an element of the unknown. It's like when you're talking about visible target-oriented fish, then you can you can see out there and you can approach it and you can put different casting angles and boat positioning. But I want that.
Can you not do that on the same thing? Like, I mean, that's why, like, Easton Fothergill, Tucker Smith, Dylan Nutt, they're doing the same thing on scope. Like, that's what I'm just walking through it in my mind. That's where they're doing the same thing, is they're putting the casting angles, they're approaching it from the different angles, they're hitting the bait differently, the same way you would work a lay down. They're doing it just submerged.
Yeah, I guess that's where, to me, it's like this whole thing about the instincts and intuition and primal skills of fishing start to go away, because you're relying upon that technology to show you that. Like out here, behind us here, all this submerged timber, I've known that the fish are out there suspended, like I said, for 50 years. I mean, and if I want to get out there and jig a spoon over it with my flasher, my 2D sonar, yeah, that's fine and dandy. But if I roll into this cove out here and I live scope the whole thing, and I don't even make a cast unless I see
like
something.
We're doing right now.
Yeah, you know, that's completely different, because you're not fishing to find those fish, and that it's like it's just a viewpoint. It's like, and I understand this. There's a lot of people that agree with what I'm talking about, and there's a lot of people that don't. I mean, there's a lot of people that just see it as just another way to catch fish. So it's sort of like a fundamental different worldview, which is okay. I mean, everybody's got different worldviews on anything.
I asked Dylan Nutt when he won the Classic, when I interviewed him, I said, hypothetically, if you're going to spend the day on the water with Randy, what's one question you would ask him? And his question we already talked about was the side imaging. What your thoughts are on that? But did you continue to use side imaging then, even though you had some inklings that you didn't want to?
No, I pretty much just quit using it for that. I just, what that forced me to do, that forced me to really just get back to fishing how I wanted to catch them, which I know from a tournament mindset, that's not the smartest thing to do, because you got to do what you got to do to catch them. But I guess, you know, I'm at the age, you know, I've been doing it for so long, as I want to catch them the way that I want to catch them. And I know from one thing in tournament fishing, you cannot survive in the sport unless you're a specialist.
That's what I said. So like when that came out, that was, you were still fishing. Like, I mean, that's what you did.
Yeah.
Full time. So, I mean,
that changed it completely.
You made a business decision that you knew you were going to be less productive on the water.
Right. I would not necessarily less productive. I was going to try to master the techniques that I felt that I could do the best on. And obviously if you have that mentality, it's not necessarily the best thing for your consistency in tournament angling.
So did you notice 06, 07, 08, it got a lot tougher to cash checks on certain fisheries, Kentucky Lake, that type of thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially once the GPS technology in correlation with the side imaging took over, it got super tough.
And do you have anything against GPS? Like, talk about that. 1 foot GPS, 1 foot contours, insane mapping, that type of thing. I haven't heard you talk about that much.
I don't like it at all, because let me give you an example. There was back when, from about 1989 to 1994, I figured out how to catch them offshore at Grand Lake before anyone else did. And it happened by accident. I just figured out that I could catch them.
Yeah. Just stick with generals, because I'm off limits for Grand, and we all know how the off limits is working nowadays.
Well, okay. Well, anyway, I figured out how to catch bass offshore before GPS or anything like that. And it took me, it took me a lot of time to find those areas with 2-dimensional sonar and maps, like paper maps. And I was able to dominate for like 3 or 4 years, winning almost any tournament that I fished in June down there. Once GPS mapping came out, those areas, everybody found them within 2 years. They're completely gone.
So then, what's your rationale on 2D? Okay, like, why did you draw the line on side imaging and not 2D?
Well, 2-dimensional sonar is basically the only thing that I use it for really is just to show me how deep the water is. Yeah, I've caught.
I got one. It's about 12 inches long, but it's the first fish of the day.
Oh, is that a wacky?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few beds in here. But yeah, 2-dimensional sonar, I've used it to catch fish, out in deep timber. But basically, I just want to know how deep the water is.
But you could use a flasher for that.
Yeah, you could, because that will tell me where the drop-offs are and the breaks and everything, and then I can figure everything else out myself. So it's like, it's sort of like getting back to like golf with a hip putter. It's like, the hip putter was a big deal. People were doing good. They banned it. They sort of set a baseline. So now we're not going to have hip putters.
There's a good fish on that bed right there. See him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where's he gonna? He's looking at it, isn't he? There he goes.
Looks like a spot, about a pound and a half spot.
Yeah.
Not super locked. But anyway, hip putters.
Yeah. I guess it's just like,
There's another one.
You just sort of set a baseline for competitive sports, and it's like we don't have that baseline right now.
Do you not feel like the leagues are trying to set that baseline right now with the changes with what they're doing?
I think they're being forced into it. I don't think anything is
Chase said in my interview with him that money from electronics companies has nothing to do with the decisions that they have made at Bass as far as what can and can't be used electronics-wise.
So what then? What is the motivation then? If money and maintaining those relationships aren't, what's the advantage to it? Especially since it creates such an outrage in a division. Matt, you cannot believe. And I know that my channel has got an older demographic, but I cannot tell you. And when I talk hundreds, I'm talking about hundreds, maybe in the thousands, about people that said they canceled their Bassmaster membership because of Ford Racing. It's like when you have that type of division, it's like, what's the point? I mean, why do you
Let me counter you this, though. So I do day 4 with Frank Scala. She's
I've seen
64 years old. Loves LiveScope, has taught him, has given him what he says, all the years of what he was thinking in his head. He uses it. We have 7,000 people that watch or listen to every single one of those shows.
Whoops.
And damn technology. And we have maybe one negative comment on it, and I could show you dozens of, nope, we're good.
Oops.
I could show you dozens of people who are in their 50s or 60s who, because of Frank, put a live scope on their boat and said that they're having more fun fishing now than they ever have before.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I think that's where it's like, okay, so like you say that, but I could counter that with what I've experienced too, and it's not controversial when he talks about it. No one says anything negative about it. Now, he incorporates a lot of, I guess you would say traditional fishing tactics with it too, but incorporates it, just to find the grass edge and to find the bait and stuff too. But I could also say, hey, I can give you just as many examples of guys who like it, who are in the older demographic and don't think it's controversial.
So then what is the difference there? Why am I seeing such a difference of opinion on my particular platform?
Do you want my honest opinion? I think it's the society that we live in today where we have the ability to hear what we want to hear to confirm our own biases.
Yeah.
So like, if I don't want to watch a channel, I don't have to. If I want a channel that says, yeah, that's what I think and that's what I listen to, then that's it. So it becomes somewhat of like an echo chamber, for lack of a better term.
It's true, because I know different podcasts.
Because if we just went off of my podcast, I'd be like, oh, there is no controversy whatsoever with forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
But if I obviously listen to your videos, or I talk to you and you say you're going, hey, this is the biggest crisis that we faced in bass fishing in the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. I feel like my stance is just as valid as your stance, because we're both getting feedback from those people who are, actual people. You run into them, you talk to them, they fish, they allow me to make a living, allow you to make a living. Yeah. That's where I think it's hard to figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you start to get into, there's a whole nother, conversation to have about the other reasons. It's like, our daughter is like, she was on the high school fishing team at Central High in Springfield. In these tournaments that we go to, it's like there'd be kids in pontoon boats fishing against dudes in $80,000 bass boats with live scopes. So it's like, and then, you got the whole income disparity about people that can't afford it, or the kids that can't afford it. You got a lot of different offshoots with that.
And I agree but I mean, bass fishing as a whole is very expensive, but so is other things. Like, I mean, if you want to get into, dirt track racing, I'm sure the guys who spend the most money on the motors and the tires and all that are the ones that are winning most of the races.
Right.
And there's also, in my opinion, you're at the very top level. Like, I don't see anything wrong with having aspirational equipment at the very top. The NASCAR, the golf stuff, like everything at the very top. I mean, that is the flagship that company is saying, hey, here is what we offer. You don't have to buy it, but hey, you can also get a used 32, you can get a 9-inch screen. We've gotten it down to where, you can have an aluminum boat, but at the very top, your guys that are professionals need to have the best stuff. We give them the best stuff, they use the best stuff and promote the best stuff.
So where do you think it's going to go? I mean, if you had over the next 5 years, what do you see going down with it?
I see it still being a part of the sport, but I definitely see putting limitations on it. Like, look how long we've been at 250 horsepower boats and things like that.
So do you think they're going to restrict it even further on like the periods and the time you can use it? Or and then, with that, it's like like we were talking about the further advancements in it, it's like, at what point do the tournament organizations have to say this is a little too far?
And I think that's where Bassmaster said, you've got 53 inches of screen. These are the approved transducers that you can use right now. You can have a single transducer. This is what it is right now, and then we'll look back on that.
Yeah.
So I think that they have done that, and MLF has done kind of the same thing with their period. They're a little bit more open as far as, you know, how many transducers, what you can use and things like that at it. But I think 9 years in hindsight, you didn't really know what it was going to be when it first came out. The first time I ever saw it was on Table Rock, and it was Panoptics. And I was with Matt Lee. We were throwing an Alabama rig at a media event, and he said, "Hey, watch this." He threw it out, and this blobs came up after it, and he's like, "That's pretty cool, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we just went back to regular fishing. But I think, in your perfect world, what happens? All 3 leagues, or let's just say MLF and Bass, ban it and go away from it?
Yeah. In my perfect world, I would like to see just a baseline set at 2-dimensional sonar and GPS and just leave it at that.
So no side imaging?
No, one unit up front, 1 unit in the back, 2D sonar, GPS. And then at that point you say, okay, these professionals, these are supposed to be the best anglers in the world. It's like, let's see the true skill from this without having this artificial technology to aid them. It's like, set them as like the bar for that. It's like these professionals are not allowed to use this technology. They're going to be forced to understand the nuances of seasonal patterns of movement and bass positioning and the moods and the personalities. That is what people want to see. And I don't think anyone can deny, it's like, you know, when you're talking about watching a TV show, if we're going down here throwing a Zara spook down this bank and you see a 5-pounder blow up on it, and then you explain how you had to manipulate that spook where it went completely around that bush there, and you talked about how you did that and everything with it versus shaking that minnow looking down at the screen like this. It's like, and that's that's the materialistic viewpoint of it. The point that I come across of it is sort of the aesthetic and this mystery and the magic. And when people say that, it's like, oh, Randy, you stupid libtard, you know, you're talking about aesthetics and, the nuances of the sport and all this foo-foo stuff like that. That's important to me. It's like that type of, connection with this unknown is like, that's what I'm into, man. It's like, and I know a lot of people, they're not. I mean, and that's just because everybody's different, I guess.
So if I was to look up, like here, like you haven't looked down at that thing once, have you? And I'm just looking at the depth. See that, and I'm watching, like let's say that right there, and I put a bait right on that, and I pull a fish off of that. What if to me and to the new generation that was as impressive as breaking down a lay down and flipping it, and the same feeling you get when it goes dunk is when you materialize the fish out of that bottom that 90% of the live scopers go past that they don't see, but because you spent so many hours honing your craft on it, you're able to pull a fish there that 95% of the guys have passed. How can you quantify your experience as any less valid than my experience in that?
Because the primal is removed, I guess. It's like, we've survived as a species for so long on this planet because our primal skills of being able to adapt and be in tune with nature and read the rhythms of nature, to me that removes it. That's like, there's nothing primal or instinctual or intuitive about that. It requires a skill set, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's impressive when I see these young kids doing this and how they can line up on everything and they can decipher what's a crappie from a spotted bass. Yeah, that is a skill set, but it's like, I'm just a purist, man. It's like, that's the whole thing. It's sort of like fly fishing. You know how fly fishermen have sort of maintained that same type of viewpoint, that they don't want their sport. It's fine the way it is, and appreciate it for what it is.
So what do you do with the 70% of 21 to 30-year-olds that have grown up with it, that have been told that they can use it, that it's legal, that have gotten good, and that are now making their living with it? A serious question, like what do you do with that demographic?
I would say, look guys, you guys obviously have an understanding of bass. It's like, it's not that big of a stretch for you to learn the traditional techniques and with the basic fundamental type of stuff that everyone grew up to. You guys can be just as good. It's like, it's not going to stop you from being able to make a living in the sport. If the playing field is level for everybody, then that is when you can master everything else. You can master versatility, you can become a master of certain specialized techniques. It's not going to diminish your experience in the sport whatsoever. It's not going to, there may be a little bit of a learning curve, but we all had to go through it. I mean, it's like, it took me freaking 10 years to learn how to fish that people can pick up in 45 minutes on YouTube now.
What percentage of the under 30-year-old guys, in your opinion, do you think would be on tour currently had there never been forward-facing sonar?
Probably 25% of the ones that currently have.
1 out of 4.
That would be my opinion on it, with it. And I fished with a lot of them too. It's just like, here's the thing about bass fishing: imagination and creativity is more important than experience to a certain extent. Because and
is that not part of the reason why they're dominating? Because they have the imagination and the creativity, because they're young and they haven't.
I remember I had a conversation with Clun probably over 30 years, or probably 30 years ago, because Rick, up till this point, he was always in the top 10 in Angler of the Year. And he started having a couple seasons.
That's a tree.
He started having
it looked like it was moving.
Yeah, I did.
It was definitely, I think he might have had a bite.
He had a couple seasons where he like barely qualified for the Classic instead of making the top 10. And I asked him, I said, and there were some young guys starting to come up. I said, Rick, how in the world did these young guys, how are they beating you? You got so much more experience on it. And he didn't really have an answer, but I figured it out. It's because of that creativity and imagination. And because I used to have it, everybody used to have it when they're younger, but you get so set into what has worked for you for so many years, you lose that. It's like, instead of like, if we're going down this bank here, yeah, I know they're going to bite a shaky head. I've caught tons of bass on a shaky head. Somebody else may say, well, man, I'm going to try, a freaking,
glide bait
or glide bait or Carolina rig tube or something. Just because
that sounds like a nightmare.
Because they don't know any better, and then they catch fish doing it.
And you brought Rick up. Were you surprised at his take on forward? I mean, you've known him forever. I mean, didn't in one of the tournaments that the gas tank tournament, didn't he pick you up on one of the days to bring you in or something like that back in the day?
I was leading that FLW on the Mississippi River, and my boat broke down like 3 miles from the takeoff, and he picked me up on the way in.
What are your thoughts on his? I know he spent a lot of time with Cody Huff actually out here. He was on Mercer recently, things. Are you surprised at his take on forward facing?
Yeah, I'm not going to say a bad word about Rick Clun.
I'm not saying bad, but I mean.
Well, yeah, we've been friends forever, but I am extremely surprised at his position on it, simply because of I've had so many conversations with him about that whole primal, instinctual, mysterious, magical part of fishing, that this does not have anything to do with that. And so I'm really, really surprised at his position on that. And to be honest, I'm surprised at a lot of guys. I'm surprised at guys like Van Dam. You had him on there.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
I'm surprised that a lot of the marquee players have not become more vocal against it, because it has undermined their career. It's made them irrelevant compared to what they were. And if that technology hadn't existed, they would be able to maintain that, just like Guido Hibden did into his 60s before that came out.
But could you not say the same thing about Grigsby, Larry Nixon, that type of thing, when the Edwins and Skeets and Kevins came up?
Yeah, they did, but they did.
Is that just not the natural progression of professional sports as a whole?
There was always that aspect of it, but not to the extent now, because you look at how many new faces are in the sport over the past 2 or 3 years. And before, it's like, yeah, there would be somebody come up every other year or something. There'd be some, like, I remember when Tim Horton first came up, he won Angler of the Year right off the bat. And there would be some guys that did good, but it was so rare because the learning curve took so long to do that. And that's what, like Van Dam, why he was such a freak of nature early on, because nobody had ever seen somebody 22 years old just completely freaking dominate like he did. And now it's like, it's just sort of like the norm. It's like there's always some new face. And again, it's not anything against those kids. It's just like, that's one of the things that really irritates me is like, a lot of people label me as like some anti-kid, anti-youth. I've never said that. I sort of feel sorry for them a lot of times. I feel sorry that a lot of them weren't brought up with the more traditional techniques. And
I think a lot of them were. I think if you look at, I think Drew Gill might be an exception to that, but I think if you look at the Nutt brothers, if you look at a Bank Shaw, if you look at an Easton Fothergill, a Tucker Smith, I think a lot of those guys, if you talk to them, and, you know, they fished high school in the first couple, you know, without forward facing, which also might be why you're seeing them being, because they have a good quote unquote traditional foundation, but also, like, why does the traditional foundation matter? If your goal is you're paying $500 to $2,000 or $5,000 to fish a tournament, your goal is to come in with the 5 biggest fish legal in a fair and equal manner, as long as you are paired with anybody else. Why does it matter how you do it if you are in a competition and it is a legal, ethical method where you're not gaining an unfair advantage? Who cares how they catch it? Because the goal isn't how you catch them, it's the total weight. And then if that's just not your thing, then you don't fish it.
Well, there's a couple of different things. Let me draw an analogy. Let's say, for example, there was we'll go back to golf again. It's like somebody developed a putter that, like, had the ability to where you could it was a piece of technology, and you could adjust it where
they had the belly putter with the anchoring.
Well, yeah, let's say that this putter cost $4,000, and that it would tell you the exact line. It would read the break of the green. It would read the type of grass, how the grass was growing, but you still had to make the right acceleration on the downswing. And there was this group of young anglers that have mastered that, and without that piece of technology, you know, that would not have happened with that. So you got that aspect, and then you got the other aspect that you can't deny is the financial end of it. Because my question is okay, you're in high school, you know, and if you fish a lot, yeah, you could have a part-time job or something like that. If you got an average family that has an average income, you know, you're 18 years old, how in the world do these 18, 20, 21, 22-year-old anglers afford to have this technology? Because a lot of them can't. I talk to a lot of these kids that message me and say, hey, I can't afford that. It's like, I got to sing, my mom's raising me, I can't afford that. And then you got somebody else that can afford that technology, which creates this unlevel playing field. So there's so many layers to this conversation about why it's not good for the sport. That's just 2 of them. And I feel like
the money has always been a factor in bass fishing, just because it is. I mean, regardless of technology or not. I mean, just from a boat to rods to reels to travel to the truck that you have to have it, with the insurance, with all that. I think that's always been the biggest barrier for, you know, anybody can pick up a basketball and go down to the park and shoot baskets. But I think that's just a reality of life, that not everybody can jump in a bass boat and go bass fishing. It
is, you're right, but there's some things that can be done to sort of level that a little bit, especially with equipment limitations.
And high school's done a good job of that, as far as, you know, you have your boat captains, you've got a ton of kids that don't have boats that are able to get out and do that. Like, high school fishing has done a lot of really good things for the sport. Now, you could also argue that 600 boats on the same lake on a weekend, where the kids are only worried about, you know, their jersey logos and whether they're catching them, and if their dad talked to the right guy on where the fish are, is completely counterintuitive to the whole purpose of why it was created. But I mean, that's a whole different topic.
You want to hit a different spot, or you want to keep fishing?
Yeah, let's go catch some fish. What is the thought process with the number of videos? Like, I've never seen anybody who's just, I mean, you pump out content like it is nobody's business.
That's the only way I figured out how to survive, because to me it's like the quantity and like smaller, shorter videos and the consistency of every single day it generates more income for me than like to do, you know, like the longer, you know, more focused videos. On top of that, like in my situation, it's like when I'm trying to, like, you know, market the other stuff, like I got like my Tackle Warehouse link affiliate stuff. That gives me more opportunities to do that. So it's sort of a revenue thing more than anything else. But like yours, you know, you have a lot longer shows, so it's probably you don't have to do that like I do.
Yeah, I just do one a day. Are you surprised at the enthusiasm with which you receive feedback?
Yeah. I mean, as far as negative or
negative or positive. You by far, when it comes to the comments, have the most polarizing comment section in, I mean, there's like a quarter of the Elite Series guys who have the Randy Blaukat logo on their boats that they wear, that they have, Like you're extremely polarizing.
Well,
like, is that intentional for views? Is that? I
don't mean to be polarizing, but man, I've done this for so long. I just got strong opinions on it, and like I don't care what it is. Anytime you have strong opinions, you're going to be polarizing to a certain extent. And it's not like I'm not trying to make anybody mad or offend anybody with that. I'm just, you know, it's an opinion channel. I mean, that's what I do, and it's like, you know, you're going to ruffle some feathers when you're doing that, but it's like I'm not trying to make anybody's life miserable or anything by it.
Is there a distinct view duration? So like, it wasn't until 3 years ago that you would start put like live scope in the titles, things like that. And if you kind of look at the history of it, massive spike of views in the, you know, you guys aren't going to believe what live scope, this type of thing there. Like, that's got to be intentional though. No, I mean, just as a business guy, like, hey, let's put something out there that gets more views. Here's the thing with that. It's like when I do a live scope video, I lose subscribers. It's like it may get a lot of views, but I lose subscribers on it. So not only I lose subscribers, but I know I open myself up to criticism when I do it. But I really believe what I'm saying here. This is a big deal to me, this whole technology and fishing. And the more that I get into it, it's like the more that I got my heels dug into it. I'm open-minded about it, but at the same time, I feel like I'm the only one out there carrying this flag for everybody with it. I mean, like I'm sort of the voice of a lot of people that share my viewpoint, that are sort of like marginalized a little bit. And I take the heat for it, man, dude. You cannot believe some of the stuff I got to delete and block. Have you lost sponsors because of it? I've had nothing but support from the sponsors. It's been, and I think a lot of it is like, I think if you're authentic about it, you know, they can appreciate it. And also it's like, you know, I'm not trying to like, you know, cause anybody any harm. My concern is for the future of the sport. It really is. I mean, the sustainability of it. I mean, I'm 64 years old. I mean, I don't have a lot of time left on this planet. You know, I'm just trying to leave something after I leave. It would be a lot easier if I could just do fishing videos and not ever get into this as far as... You ran out of fishing videos. You've got every modification. But there's never... There's never a shortage because it's like there's always seasonal patterns, and plus there's always new people coming on the channel. It's like... Who would you describe your average intuitive angling Randy Blaukat listener as far as experience level, tournament fishing, how often they fish? Like, if you were to just say middle of the line, this is what I believe my median or mean viewer is. Yeah, 45 to 70 recreational fishermen or club level, buddy tournament type anglers out there. That's sort of like, you know, the main sort of the fan base I got with that. What percentage, like let's say you do a live scope video and you get 10,000 views on it. Of those, what percentage of people that watch that video would you say use live scope regularly or have used live scope or fully understand what it is, as opposed to I've heard about it, I don't like it, and I've never used it? I'd say half of the people that watch my videos have live scope, but I've had so many of them say, yeah, I bought live scope, but I just don't use it, or I don't get into it that much. A lot of people do that. And 50% are like myself, or they don't want nothing to do with it. You know,
the other half are the guys that are just ate up with it, and they're the guys. Dude, I have gotten death threats. I have gotten freaking threats of physical violence. You cannot believe. I've been called every freaking name in the book. I mean, it's just like. So when you do that, it's like you put yourself out there. It's like my wife Kim. She goes like, Randy, you can't be saying some of that stuff. You don't know these freaking crazy people are going to show up at your front door, you know. And that's the way it is with anything. It's like if you have a public forum. I mean, I get 7 million views a month on all my social media and YouTube. So you're going to have that. I mean, this just comes with the territory.
Do you use AI at all for titles?
No. I tried to do some of that stuff. Like I went to ChatGPT. Yeah. Anytime I use the recommendation of ChatGPT, it bombs.
You don't see? No. You have no.
No, I don't.
You have no moral dislike for ChatGPT?
Well, I mean, it's an incredible source of information, but it's like it doesn't work for me.
Have you ever had anyone from any of the organizations talk to you, approach you, ask your opinion on anything?
No, I'm sort of surprised that they haven't contacted me and told me to shut up, but I haven't heard anything out of it.
Like, what was your first controversial stance in the era of Randy Blaukat?
When I had posed nude in that Details magazine with, down at Lake Lanier for that. I mean, that was the one that started it. And then...
Like, did you get a call from the
Well, Forrest and Nina Wood is the ones that really got upset with me. Guido Hibden called me and ripped me. So
like Nina Woods called you and was like, Randy!
She goes, Randy, how could you have done that? It's like, Nina, it's like, there was, I said, the photographer said, he goes, we're going to do a night. He said, you're talking about being one with nature. We want a nice silhouette shot. It'll be backlit. You won't even be able to tell it's you from behind. And it turned out it was like bright as day, So that Bassmaster hired Ann Lewis. You remember her with Bassmaster?
The name sounds familiar.
She was the Bassmaster PR director. Okay. They hired a retired Army colonel that handled like public relations messes for the Army. They hired him to coach me on this. Bassmaster did. And so I had a bunch of meetings with this retired colonels, like, this is how you got to handle this so it doesn't come off bad. But now that people wouldn't even think anything about that now. Like if Seth Feider did something like that, it would be, that's cool. It's a different world.
What was the coot deal? That was like the first.
The
coot deal, like when I first got into the industry. Right. So it must have been what, 2007, okay. 2006, 7, sometimes around there.
We were at Okeechobee, and you know how at Okeechobee those big grass flats, the coots are out there on the coots.
Yeah.
There was this dude. He's in a bass cat. He come running. There was a gigantic flock of coots, and the water was glass.
A reef of coots.
Yeah, I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of coots. This dude blew through those coots wide open and killed probably 30 of them.
Okay.
Right through them, and that just freaking pissed me off. Like I couldn't believe. That's when I wrote that.
So did you like report? Like, did you report him for like unsportsmanlike?
I didn't know who it was. This guy was going like 70 miles an hour, and I had never seen the boat before.
Here,
it was
get up in there and catch one off.
I think it was a Bassmaster, Invitational or something.
Okay.
But I think, and for some reason, it's like people were freaked out that I was saying something like I was trying to protect the coots or something, like they were offended by it. But yeah, that was the deal with that one.
And
Why,
then
was that a bigger deal than what I thought it was?
No, I'm just going in my head. So like everybody has their things on when it was. So I would just kind of was getting into it like I was probably an intern at the time, with that. And I just remember that was one of the things.
Well, this was beyond. It's not like the guy just didn't see him. He just didn't care.
Yeah.
Just like
he ran through him. All you were saying was show a little caution.
Right. I mean, because we've all had like coots fly into us out of nowhere or something. That's not like the same thing.
And then the gas can is the Randy Blaukat rule. Like if you were to say you had a rule, that was that Mississippi River rule.
Actually, it started before that. We were at a tournament at the Arkansas River. down at Pine Bluff down there, you know, where you lock through all there. So anyway, Gary Klein and I were sort of working together, and we found this creek like 2 pools down. Didn't have enough gas to make it, so we put gas cans out on the bank. There wasn't anything in the rules about it. You couldn't do that. There was nothing. So anyway, after the tournament, I guess Dewey Kendricks, somebody told us that Gary and I had gas cans out, and Dewey goes, Randy goes, I'm gonna have to disqualify you for having gas on the boat, out on the bank. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you can't have gas cans out on the boat. I said, where in the rules that say you can't have gas in the boat? He said, well, you just can't do something like that. And he was gonna disqualify me. And I said, Dewey, I'll tell you what, I said, if you disqualify me, then you have to go back. You said it doesn't matter. I said, you said it doesn't matter when you break a rule. You know, if it was 20 years ago. There's one.
Nice. Not a bad fish. This in
largemouth? Not largemouth.
So you had to basically fight to not get DQ'd.
Well, yeah, he was. So anyway, there was a rule that you couldn't. It doesn't matter when you broke a rule. If you broke it, you were still going to get disqualified. So I said, okay, dude, if that's the case, then you'd have to go back, and you're going to have to disqualify Hank Parker for winning the 1986 Missouri Invitational on Truman because he did the same thing. And he goes, well, he goes from now on, he goes, we're going to have a rule against that. We're not going to do that anymore. He didn't, so he didn't DQ me because he'd had to DQ Hank.
Do you think you'll ever like really try to like make the Elite Series or fish the pro circuit again? Or
I got no desire to travel that much anymore.
But do you still have the desire to fish?
Yeah, I'm having a better time now tournament fishing than I ever have because I fish, you know, BFLs and, you know, local stuff. And I just really enjoyed it. It's relaxed. I can stay in my own bed at night and not away from my kids.
Do you think the organizations are healthy right now?
No, I don't think they're healthy at all.
Is it because of electronics? Like, do you think if it was not for forward-facing sonar, MLF and Bass would be in a better position just as a whole?
Absolutely. There's nothing that forward-facing has brought to those organizations that has helped that organization.
What about younger anglers?
They would still be there, though. It's not, you know, with the college and high school programs, we would still have the participation with or without forward-facing.
You said maybe a quarter. So you would have a quarter of the younger ones. So now you've infused a lot of more young blood into the sport.
But but when you're talking about, you know, the organizations being better off, I don't see anything except, you know, like negativity that's brought to those organizations. People never used to badmouth them. We never had this conversation before about people being so mad at the tournament organizations for this. And it's such a headache. If I owned Bass or MLF, it's like, this ain't worth it, man. It's like there's so many people that are pissed off about it. It's like, it's just not worth it.
But they just had the most views that they've ever seen and the most coverage in this past classic that was won by a 22-year-old LiveScoping.
Yeah, but that wasn't because of LiveScope. It's like if the 22-year-old would have won at, you know, flipping docks or something like that, they would have still had the, you know, the attendance and viewership, probably maybe even more. I mean, that's a speculation, but it's like, it's not, they didn't watch the show because of forward-facing sonar. I mean, nobody can deny that it's like, it's more exciting to watch traditional fishing, so it might even been a bigger group of anglers that watched it.
Interesting.
There's only one way that they could find out. Okay, what about this? What if Bassmaster MLF said, okay, we're just going to try this. We're going to ban forward-facing sonar for a 3-year period, and we're going to see how it shakes out. We're going to see how the industry recoups as far as sales. We're going to see, you know, the energy of the tournaments. We're going to see how the sponsors accept it. We're going to see, you know, would that be out of the question?
And then it would be called the MPFL.
Yeah.
So you would have to look at the numbers of the MPFL to see if people, I mean, you've got Andy Morgans over there, you've got Patrick Walters and Kyle Welchers, and you have a lot of anglers that are over there that fish the other tours. So if that is obviously the case, then wouldn't you think the MPFL would just be mobbed with sponsors and views.
Yeah, but the thing about it is the NPFL is they don't have the they just don't have the history or the respect like the Bassmaster Classic does. It doesn't matter who comes about. Nobody's going to be able to compete with the Bassmaster Classic, and they shouldn't be. It's like that's one of the biggest things I think that has segmented and hurted the industry is the fragmentation of the sport through so many tournament circuits. Because, you know, back when I think the sport was at the top of the game, all you had was Bassmaster. Prior to 1997,
yep,
it was better for the anglers. It just seems like the industry was healthier. You know, the enthusiasms were. It's like you had the World Championship of bass fishing, and you didn't have all these other circuits that are competing and trying to be the next Bassmaster Classic. And that's one of the things about it is like all these new tournament circuits, what it does, it makes it even harder for the anglers to make a living at it because everybody's just after crumbs in the sponsorship part of it. It's like you got some of the marquee anglers that are hogging up all the endemic sponsorship money and everybody else is just after crumbs. It's hard to make it, man, on sponsorships right now in this sport. If you're just getting started, especially.
Crystal ball 5 years from now. You asked me earlier about like what I thought electronics would be and stuff, but what do you think just right now on what you say? Do we even like, what does it look like 5 years from now?
A lot of it depends on what the economy does over the next 5 years as far as the business side of it, and a lot of it depends on how quickly and how advanced this AI influence is going to be on the electronic technology and what the tournament organizations do with it. If this AI influence or technology advances to the point where what you're looking at right here is just rudimentary, it's going to be devastating to the sport on so many different levels. And another thing about it is I think we have too many tournament circuits. It's like there's no regulatory body. There's, you know, every other sport has the, you know, NFL, Major League Baseball, the PBA, the PGA. You saw what happened when Live Golf came up and tried to, you know, compete against the PGA. That segmentation caused nothing but turmoil and chaos in that. Mm-hmm. Sort of the same in fishing. But
it's hard to do because we do it on a public body of water.
Yeah, it is.
So it kind of comes down to each lake or each region saying this is what we believe is healthy, this is what we're not, and then they have to cater to a bunch of other demographics as well, not just the tournament anglers. And then how do you determine who gets it and who doesn't? Is it just the big ones? What about the guys who have had a tournament trail for 30 years that gets it?
One of the problems we've had is that since the tournament organizations are for-profit businesses, it's always been flawed because here's the big turning point in the industry that a lot of people don't realize. We were at, I think it was the Logan Martin Classic. We had this meeting. The anglers were disgruntled and they wanted to form an angler, not an angler committee, but an angler group that basically was like a union.
Yep.
So we were at the Bassmaster Classic down there. We held this emergency meeting, brought Ray Scott into it, and we basically had our demands. We had a set of demands about what the pros wanted, not really forming a union, but they had demands that they wanted. Ray Scott looks at us and he goes, I'll tell you what, if you guys don't like it, he goes, I'll make a phone call. I'll get 35 guys in here that like it. They'll take your place tomorrow. So when you have that where you can't negotiate, you know, as an angler group, mm-hmm. which we never have, the sport's never going to advance like it should. The sport of bass fishing should be a nonprofit organization as far as at the top level. Bassmaster should be a nonprofit.
Really?
I think so, because it's like when you're talking about the betterment of the sport and the competitors in it, it's like that's why it's my biggest dream is like to win the lotto $1 billion Powerball, and I'd buy it all out.
You would?
Heck yeah, I would. I'd come to Bassmaster with an offer they can't refuse, and I'd freaking burn it down and start from scratch.
You would at this point in your life want to deal with that headache.
I would if I had the opportunity for that. That'd just sort of be a mark I could leave. That's the thing about it, man. I love this sport. I've been reading Bassmaster since I was in 3rd grade.
Oh, it's a giant. I'm good about letting those little ones go.
And it's been my whole life. I mean, people just say that I just do nothing but bitch and moan, and that's because I freaking love the sport. I mean, I want to see it. I guess I don't want to say.
So, have you thought about it? Is it an incorrect statement to say that like your legacy has changed drastically, in my opinion, over the last 5 or 6 years? Like, there's entire generation that don't look at you as a 15-time championship angler. They look at you as Randy Blaukat LiveScope hater on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, does that, I mean, as the fact, I mean, I know there's tons of people, like, I guess if they had asked, they would have no idea how accomplished you are as an angler, which is non-negotiable, right?
Yeah.
Does that bother you at all?
No, it doesn't. I do what I think's right with it. It's just, like I said, I don't do it for notoriety or because it causes a lot of chaos, period. I mean, it does. It causes problems for me that people have no idea that come with it. But like I said, I just think it's the good fight to have. I mean,
like, what is your favorite thing? Like, what do you love about the sport now? Like, what is going right in it? What is something that brings you a lot of joy in the sport? Like, where you're like, oh, this is badass.
As far as,
just in general, anything in fishing.
Well, to me, it's like I love tournament fishing, and to me, it's like as a tournament angler, there's nothing that makes you more feel alive when you're in the hunt. It's like, you've been there before, Matt. Yeah. So say, for example, it's the last day of the tournament, and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you know you're going to finish high. You got a good bag, and you know if you get 1 key bite, you got a chance to win. There's nothing like the endorphin rush that comes with that. I love it. It's like, I'll always love that. And that's coming from me as a competitive angler. And, we all like to get bit. I mean, who doesn't like to jerk on them? It's like everybody does, but it's like everything changes. You know how, you got 2 hours left to fish and you're in position to win, and everything is enhanced. It's like your peripheral vision is enhanced, and it's like your awareness is like at a super high level, and it's like it's a feeling that if you haven't experienced it, you just don't really understand it. I mean, but you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. I mean,
occasionally.
It's like
not nearly enough. We got to get your first minnow. We got to get your first minnow fish on the board so the world can stop turning.
There's a big secondary point in the back end of here that there.
We got to get one where you go, oh, I see it, here it comes, and it bites it, and I mean that's what we're leading with. That.
Yeah, Johnny had that. We were fishing here at Table Rock at a main lake point, and he was showing me all that. It's like, here he comes, here he comes. It's like, oh, there's no doubt. I would find that fun. I'm not like offended by catching one off the scope. I mean, I'm sure that I would love it. It's like,
I told probably 5 people that I was doing this, and 3 of them said there is no way that you would look down at LiveScope and make a cast, which I have not seen you do yet.
Yeah.
But I was kind of easing our way into it.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing about like guys my age. It's like, it's hard to see.
Yeah.
It's like, I got to have reading glasses, because it's sort of like tying a knot. How old are you? You're 41. 41. Well, you're not to the reading glass stage yet, are you?
I am to the stage where I think that I'm within 5 years of the reading glass stage.
About 45. But see, once you get to that, it's going to take you longer to tie a knot. It's like all that, there's a bunch of stuff that comes with that.
There's 3 cones right here. You have 1, 2, and 3 on the bottom.
Right.
Stitches together. This is going to be parallel with your trolling motor at all times. So this is 100% parallel with that. So you have 3 beams that are stitching together. Like the LVS 34, what makes it crisper, cleaner is you have seamless stitching and transition. So when you drop it down, see that? Those are those beams, right?
Right.
So it's going to be clear now. So as I move it, every single where I'm pointing is exactly where that bait is going to be, and you have a 3-degree cone. So if you cast this way, you don't see it. If you cast this way, you don't see it. Find it and try to hit the tree. Now we're talking. You see your stuff? You reel in, try again. So you were about 30 feet too far. So that's just a short pitch out in front. Yep.
There it is. Okay. See, now this is the thing I can tell you already I don't like about it. It's like I am so focused that on this screen right now.
Yep.
It's like I can't put my attention on anything else but that tree.
Well, that is your attention.
It is.
That's what you're trying to do.
It's like there's nothing else in the world that exists to me right now.
Exactly right. So that's where it's up to, as someone in the media, how can someone show their personality, talking like that? But you could also say the same thing with Tommy Biffle going down a row of bushes.
Yeah.
That sucker wasn't talkative. All you saw was the back of his neck going, is that someone on my stretch?
Yeah, but that requires a completely different mindset. It's like, I can see how this would be mentally exhausting.
Yes.
Doing this for all day. So do you see, I mean, are these guys, can they look at the blip and they can tell just by the configuration of the fish what it is, or does it weigh, is there a way the fish are relating to each other?
It depends on the different lake. So some lakes, you can clearly tell they're bass. It depends what's in the lake. Like if you have, I know it's off limits, but Grand is really tough. Grand is one of the dirtiest scoping lakes in the country. That's why when Hamner won the Classic, he wanted structure scoping, pulling fish off of the cover, didn't catch floaters. If you just go to Grand and start casting at floaters, you will catch 2 or 3 bass a day, and you will catch 50 blue cats and drum and hybrids and white bass and everything under the sun.
But like if you're an elite scoper and say you fan it out there and there's a 3-pound drum or a 3-pound largemouth, can they tell the difference between a 3-pound drum and a largemouth?
Yes.
Just in an individual fish?
Yes, based on...
But how can they do that?
Based on how it's swimming. So certain fish will go up and down in the water column, other fish will dart. Some fish will have a different shape on the live scope, and the majority of it is tail. So when you have your live scope and you're looking at it, if you can stay on that fish long enough, most of the time, you'll see, if you can see a tail shape on your fish, it is not a bass.
So they can adjust to the point where they can actually see a tail shape that big difference?
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a fish that big.
Right.
I mean, it's a big fish. Here, I'm gonna put this around your neck so we can get a little bit of live Randy Blaukat, or not live, but sorry. There you go. Here, you're rocking and rolling now.
I'm a scoper. I fell to the dark side.
You have it. You thought the death threats were few and far between before.
Yeah. It's like, you hypocrite.
But you stay with that school. I mean, I think those are bass.
See, I lost them there.
You gotta go get them. They're 80 foot out towards that way. There they are. They're right under the surface too. Those are typically active fish. So like when you talk about how easy it is to just go out and just catch the floaters, these are the floaters.
Yeah. But yeah, I can see how this would be exhausting. I mean, as far as doing this for 8 hours, literally, I mean, it's just like...
And then 3 days, 5 days,
yeah,
8 days straight. Or you can throw yours. Here, throw your stuff out. You're more used to it. That's way easier to cast your own stuff, isn't it?
My straight fluorocarbon.
Really, the first, I would say, when everyone freaked out was Patrick Walters on Lake Fork with the jerkbait, jerking 8-10 pounders off of the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And the jerkbait is one of the funnest bites because a lot of times you'll have that fish follow it for 30 to 40 feet. And as you twitch it, you can see how it reacts, just like, you know.
I can imagine.
Just like a glide bait.
Can you imagine like going to St. Clair or Champlain for jerkbait with smallmouth on these things on those big flats?
Yeah, I've done it.
I can't tell you how many I've seen follow the
But
bait
get
up
this,
there.
the Jay Shakurits, instead, like Jay Shakurit wins because everybody can go do it on the flats now, and he went and did it in grass, which is harder. It's just to me, it's just like everything. It just like evolves and changes.
Yeah.
But it is crazy to go out in front of 8 Mile and see how many 3.5 pound smallmouth are down there. Like, I mean, I fished a school of 500 of them.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The other thing that's cool is up north when you see a muskie on it. Because it looks like a muskie. Now, like when I get around this stuff, I'll slow that sucker down to like 7 or 8.
There's one on the live scope.
Come on, Randy!
Well, I saw that big school down there. This is embarrassing.
We got Randy Blaukat. Is that your first live scope fish?
Yeah, that's my first live scope.
Yes.
Look at this. Jig head minnow. Don't call me an old geezer anymore.
Yes! We gotta get a picture. That is fantastic. Initial thoughts on it. I know, like you said, you've done this 5 years ago with Johnny Schultz, but I mean, you've done probably 350 videos about it in between those 2 times.
Yeah. Well, like I said, everybody loves to get bent. But the thing about it is, there's no doubt it is an art form and it's a skill set. You know, I've never denied that at all. It's like anything else, aside from all the, you know, the stuff that I talk against it about it. I'm talking just about the technology specifically. It's like, I don't care if it's like Steve Kennedy fishing a big swim bait or if it's like Fritz deep cranking. You know, there is an art form to it. It is. But the art form is artificially induced art form. You know, now you can have an appreciation and you have to have an understanding of how fish are moving on there. But the ultimately, like from my perspective, is it's like without that technology, it would have been impossible to utilize that art form. The technology, 100%. The art form is dependent upon the technology.
100%.
Yeah. Which to me, again, gets away from that foundational principle of you fish to find the fish. That's the PowerPoint of fishing on a very pure level. This technology is about generating money. It's about creating products that make money. It's about enabling this technology through the entities that allow it in the sport. So it's not inevitable. It's been forced upon the anglers, and there's a handful of people. It's like you think about it, the people that have designed forward facing and the people that have been in charge of the tournament organizations, you're talking about probably less than a dozen people. Their decisions have completely altered the sport in this direction. You know, it could have went any other way where we didn't even have this and we wouldn't be having this discussion today. And we may be having a different discussion 10 years from now where this is like a flasher, this like that up there, compared. It's like
not if they put limits on it.
Yeah, but it's going to be. I mean, if they don't put any limits on, they're going to say, "Well, God, can you believe they used to use that freaking LV34 transducer?"
Oh, that's the way it is in anything. The truck that you back down in, the boat we're driving in now, all that. But I mean, it is definitely interesting.
At what point does it devolve instead of evolve the sport?
And I think that's why the conversation continues, is because it's very subjective. It's not objective. There is no in my opinion, in your opinion, you're pretty cut and hard core. You're pretty, this is what it should be. But I'm still very subjective on it as far as I'm trying to, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get in the boat with you today, was because, like I said, this is where I throw the screenshots of the text messages I've sent about Randy videos to Johnny, to Matt Steffen, to Andrew Upshaw. You see the phrases that you have coined pop up on the national level.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, they hear what they want to hear because, like I did a video last week, I was saying it's like, if you're one of those people out there that don't like LiveScope, do not call these young guys that are using it cheaters, because they're not. They are doing what they have to do and what they've been forced to do to compete. But a lot of people just hear what they want to hear, and they're saying, oh, Randy's calling Dylan Nutt a cheater and all that. I've never done that ever. So it's polarizing, it is. It's sort of like politics a little bit. People are they get their heels dug into something. They like to villainize people. And the main thing about it is, like, everybody that's watching this video or my videos, it's a brotherhood. We love to fish. I mean, we are. As much as we argue like a family, we all love this sport, you know, and some people just have a different idea of the direction that it needs to go into. A lot of people agree with me. A ton of people do. A lot of people don't. But we can have that discussion and still get along, you know, without being freaking cussed out every time I do a video.
Who are if you were to say, like, if you were to pick like three anglers currently right now who are still fishing that you just really kind of admire how they fish, how they go about it, that you think like younger anglers should model their game after, who are you choosing?
Probably Hackney, Jason Christie, and Takahiro. Those probably be the three.
Three good ones. Tak's going into the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he deserves it.
I think he's long overdue.
I mean, he stayed with me for an entire week one time. He goes, hey, I want to hang out with you for a while. So he stayed with me for an entire week. He went through every single tackle box that I had and literally picked out every single lure I had and just like studied it. He is a freaking student of this. I mean, he's just, you know, have you ever been to his house?
I have not.
His house has nothing but like bright overhead fluorescent lighting in it everywhere.
Really?
And I go, Takahiro, what's the deal with all the light? He goes, that way I can work on tackle in any room of the house if I want. So he's just like, he's just completely submerged in it. So who are the top young guys out there right now, you think? Or most
Trey
of them?
McKinney, Tucker Smith, Easton Fothergill, Dylan and Carter Nutt, Bank Shaw, Drew Gill.
Are they all in the elites?
No. They're either on the invitationals or Banks is on the BPT, Drew Gill's on the BPT. The Nuts Dylan's on the Elite Series now that he won the Classic, but not until next year. And Carter's on the invitationals. Bank Shaw is probably, I'm going to do the top 10 scopers in the world show here in a couple of weeks, and he'll probably be the unanimous #1. With your favorite person?
Really?
Milliken.
Oh yeah, what happened to that dude, man?
He didn't fish the elites this year, and he's moved up north just so to film. But
like smallmouth stuff.
Yeah, but he's going to be on it. Me, him, and Jody White will do the top 10 scopers, and I'm fairly sure Bank Shaw will be unanimous #1. He has 17 top 10s out of his last 19 tournaments.
That is freaking unbelievable. on the opens, or?
So he does it a combination of ways, but yeah, primarily he's ridiculously good at scoping shallow bars on the TVA. Like, he's figured out how to do it that no one else has, and pretty much is guaranteed a 25-pound bag anytime he's on a TVA.
God.
But they do individual scoping up shallow to where they're not like, it's not like the floaters thing is very rare now. It's all individual fish that you're pulling off of the bottom.
Right. That is crazy, man. That just comes from spending just so much time on the water.
Yeah. Yeah, he understands how, and he understands things that other people don't, including guys who have been there for. But I mean, the way, so like my thought process on that is, if you take a guy who fishes hardcore, let's say he fishes every other weekend for 3 days for 12 months out of the year. You know how insane that is. That's 90 days on the water, basically. So through 30, that's what, 52 weeks in a year. So let's just say he fishes 25 weeks out of the year times 3, right? Yeah. That's 75 days on the water. That's a day of practice, or 2 days of practice in a tournament every other weekend, 12 months out of the year. He's only on the water 75 days. You take a guy like Banks or Drew Gill, he's putting 75 days on in 3 months. So now you stack that over 5 years.
Yeah.
And he starts when he's 18. You've got a 23-year-old guy that has more time on the water than a weekend guy who's been doing it 25 years.
Easy, yeah.
That's where it's not, that's where the young guys get pissed when people say, oh, it's because of the scope. The top young guys that I've talked to, where they feel like they're being marginalized because they're going, no, dude, like, I've been on the damn water every 6 days out of the week for the last 3 years.
Where do they get the money to do that? To stay in hotels? And
so a lot of
money.
them fished in college, so they crash at buddies' houses. So like if you're on Pickwick, you know the guys from the college around Pickwick, and they stay at their house. Then they freaking win a tournament. Now they've got 30 grand.
Yeah. Or
they do well in a tournament, or they slum it up on freaking couches and stuff like that and fish. Now, to get the boat and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, you have to have some money to get in this.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of, I mean, it is time on the, like, I'm sure you feel like you probably feel better now since you've had multiple days on the water recently.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff, like, you get in that freaking groove. Like back when you were doing it, you were what, 5 days a week for 4 or 5 months out of the year?
If even that. I mean, people didn't fish as much back then, it seems like. I mean, I guess it just depends. You know, back when I was doing it, there's a lot of guys that still worked when they were home, you know, just regular jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys, they don't have, I mean, they have planned on doing this since they were 16. Now, is there going to be a group of guys that, I mean, for every Drew Gill you hear, there's 30 kids that are trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like you pull into any gas station and they got the wrap truck and the boat and stuff, and you've never heard of them, and then you look up their stuff and you're like, okay, well, what are you going to be doing in 3 years?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
which is kind of scary.
It's so hard for them to get sponsors too that mean anything as far as any meaningful sponsorships.
But I think if you create the value in yourself and stuff, the sponsorships come. I think it's no longer just catch fish, get sponsors.
Yeah.
Like that's a dinosaur thing of the past.
It is. It's all about your social media impressions. Let's go right over there, point it to the right over there.
All right. You don't have any desire to just kind of see what's out there?
That's not whatsoever.
You have no desire.
I'll find out quick enough. Here.
You have no, we're making just cast to the abyss.
No,
you have no desire to see
I have no idea what's out there. There could be anything out there.
We could turn that on and see what's out there.
Yeah, but I don't want that, man. Because then it takes all the fun away from it.
Or you could be like, holy cow, we were 10 feet to the left, and then think of how much fun it is if we catch 6.
I know, that's the process. But then if I catch one, it's like, man, that was nice.
I'll tell you what, I am definitely feeling the mystery part, not really getting the magic part.
Yeah, we're not throwing.
You got the mystery part down to a science here.
This isn't like throwing at a laydown or a dock. You're actually throwing into some open water here.
All right, well, there we go. Randy Blaukat, thank you for jumping in the boat with me. I had a great time. We caught a few fish, nothing crazy. You had the big fish of the day, non-scope.
The thing about it, I learned a lot. I mean, I had some ideas of how this works. I fished with Johnny Schultz a little bit, but you showed me a lot about the sort of the finer nuances of it.
Like
that
I
didn't
said,
really
by no
realize.
means am I claiming to be an expert in this. I just enjoy doing it. I do it a lot.
Yeah.
Fish a lot with it. Fish a lot in general and the other ways too. So that's kind of how I like to do things on BTL. I think there's a lot of good stuff that we talked about today.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought it was a very productive day. I mean, like I said, it was really good to get out and see it firsthand in a lot of different situations. And one of the things I think a lot of people understand as far as the relationship between the distance and the depth and your cone angle. Now, given that, I still hate it terribly. I can't stand it, but it is an impressive piece of technology. There's undeniable. It is. I mean, it's not for everybody. I mean, I can see how somebody really get into it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, like myself, if you had the opportunity to see it in action, it's probably not going to change your opinion of it one way or the other. One of the things that I did notice about it that I wasn't really aware doing it as much as we did is how much focus it takes, and like we talked about how mentally exhausting it is to focus like that. It's almost like how you're looking at your cell phone for a long time, you start to get a headache a little bit. Yeah, I can see how. Is that a deal?
No, it definitely is. And the thing is, the guys who are really good at it make it look incredibly easy.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there aren't times when it isn't incredibly easy in some, but there's a lot of times when it's not.
Yeah.
And the guys who are the best in the world, who you're watching on the TV, who you're seeing catching 9, 10s, 11s, a lot of times they're making it look a lot easier than it actually is when you have all the different components that come into play.
Yeah, definitely so.
But, I wasn't out here to change your mind. I knew I wasn't going to change your mind. I just wanted to have a discussion. I think we talked about a lot of things. I don't think you get enough credit for what you've done in the industry over the past 3 decades. All that you've done on the water. You get the 8-minute talking and the titles and all that, but greatly appreciate it, and hopefully this will lead to some fantastic discussion.
Yeah.
Some productive, positive discussion.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate the invite. I was a little hesitant at first, but it's like, I've known you for a long time, so I didn't know it would be a good day. It was. Really enjoyed it.
So I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Randy.